And perhaps a brief curiosity in this process, as each cardinal swears to uphold this oath, and each one has to do it individually because each one is personally responsible for his promise. Some of the cardinals have given their first name in Latin, some of them give it in their native language, and their last names are all the last names as they would say them in normal life. And when we have the announcement of the new Pope, hopefully guided by the Holy Spirit very soon, the announcement will be made in a similar fashion where they will read the formula for the announcement of a new Roman pontiff. The first name will be read in Latin, followed by their title, and concluding with their last name in everyday language. And so those who are watching on the night of the election after the white smoke comes out, there will be lots of people with lists of first names of cardinals in Latin so that they can determine immediately which of the cardinals will have been chosen as the new supreme pontiff. There is no such time limit for a conclave. The cardinals are expected to have a vote immediately this evening. Each cardinal writes out the vote on a paper ballot, disguising their handwriting so that we can preserve anonymity as much as possible. And for the election of a new pope, a full 2/3 of the voting cardinals need to make their choice for the same person. And as I mentioned, there should be a vote this evening. We will have a coverage beginning at 6 p.m. Rome time in anticipation of the results of that first vote, which will be signaled with the burning of the ballots and the black or white smoke coming from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel. All of that happens behind closed doors. If there is if a pope is not elected this evening, the conclave concludes for the day and will pick up again tomorrow morning with mass and prayer. And each subsequent day, there are 2 votes in the morning if necessary and 2 votes in the afternoon if necessary. If no pope is elected, the black smoke comes out after the second vote. If pope is elected, of course, the white smoke will come after whichever vote it happens at. After several rounds of voting, if it takes that long, there is provision in the Apostolic Constitution for a period for a break where the cardinals will not vote, and then they will pick up after a day of reflection and prayer. They'll pick up again the following day and continue again in groups of successive votes with certain periods programmed in where if there is a longer conclave, they will have various points at which they'll be able to take a break and reflect and pray. It's been a very long time since we've had conclave go more than a few days. Since the beginning of the 20th century, the longest conclave lasted only 7 votes in 1903 and took place over the course of 5 days. The voting schedule was not the same as it is now. So we will be taking a break after the Extra Omnes and the closing of the doors of the Sistine Chapel. And then we will resume our live broadcast this evening at 6 p.m. Rome time. And we'll be giving coverage of the conclave leading up to the expected first smoke signal, as it were, announcing the outcome of this evening's ballot for the papacy.
Et ego Alvaro Cardinalis Ramazzini espondeo voveo adjuro
And we're currently in the midst of the Cardinals of the Order of Presbyters, which will be followed by the Order of Deacons. Once again, each Cardinal makes the oath in his own name, taking personal responsibility for his promise and his commitment to maintain the secrecy of the conclave, to faithfully carry out the Patrine ministry if elected, and a solemn oath to affirm and defend boldly the spiritual and temporal rights, the religious and secular rights, as well as the freedom of the Holy See. The oath also speaks about the necessity of faithfully and scrupulously observing all of the prescriptions that the popes have laid out for the conduct of the conclave, and we can be assured the whole apparatus and procedure of the conclave is designed to ensure that there can be no doubt about the valid election of the next pope. And we know that these cardinals all take very seriously this very religious commitment to elect a new bishop of Rome.
Spondeo voveo accuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Augustus Paulus, Cardinalis lo iudice, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego, Ioannes Marcus, Cardinalis Avelin, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego, Gita e bere Cardinalis Abaleke, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu Deo tango.
Et ego, Leonardus Udalricus Cardinalis Steiner, spondio vovio ac abiuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego, Philippus Neri, Cardinalis Ferrau, spondeo vovio ac iuro. Sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego, Robertus Cardinalis McElroy, spondeo vovio ac iuro. Sic me Deus adjuvet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelii, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego, Virgilius Cardinalis Ducarmo da Silva, spondeo voveo ac iuro. Sic me Deus audivet, et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego, Anscarius Cardinalis Cantoni, spondeo voveo ac iuro. Sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego, Pula Cardinalis Anthony, spondeo voveo ac iuro. Sic me Deus adjuvet, et ac sancta Dei Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego, Paulus Caesar, Cardinalis Costa, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego William Cardinalis co spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ac sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego ad Albertus Cardinalis Martinez Flores, spondeo boveo adjuro, sic me Deus adiuve et sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Georgius Cardinalis Marengo, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Petrus Baptista Cardinalis Pizzaballa, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Stephen Cardinalis Brislin, spondio vovio adiugoro, sic me Deus adiuvet et haec sancta de Evangelia, quae manu mea tango.
Et ego Angelus Sixtus Cardinalis Rossi, spondio vovio ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Aloysius Joseph Cardinalis Rueda Aparicio, spondeo boveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Gregorius Cardinalis Risch, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Muller Stephen Martin Muller, spendo vevo ac iura, sic me Deu advent ad hac sancta Dei Evangelia, qui mani mea tango.
Et ego Joseph Cardinalis Covocano, spondeo boveo adiuro, sic me Deu adiuvet et ec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Protasius Cardinalis Rugambua, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Sebastian Cardinalis Francis, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et haec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Stephen Cardinalis Chao, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adivove et ac sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Franciscus Saverius Cardinalis Bustillo, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Americum Cardinalis Aguiar, spondeo voveo ac iuro, sic me Deus adiuvet et ec sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego, Carlos Cardinalis Castillo, spondeo, boveo, adjuro, sic me Deus adjuvet, et ex santa de Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Vicente Cardinalis Vocalis, spondio boveo acciuro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancta de Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Luis Gerardo Cardinalis Cabrera, spondio boveo adjuro, sic me Deus adiubet, et ex santa Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
And as we mentioned before, the conclave is when the cardinals are locked in the Sistine Chapel, and that comes from the Latin phrase cum clave, literally means with a key. And this stemmed from the time when, during the conclave in 1268 in Viterbo, because the papal see had to be moved from Rome due to the overwhelming violence that was taking place in the Eternal City. So the papal see was moved to a small town, Viterbo, right outside of Rome, and it was the longest conclave in history, lasting just about 3 years. And to encourage the cardinals who had taken so long, the citizens of Viterbo had locked the cardinals into the palace of the popes in Viterbo and also kept them limited to bread and water to, again, encourage an election, a quicker election, but it still ended up taking until September of 1271, after about 3 years without a pontiff. And it was at that time that Pope Gregory X was elected. And it's from that time that we actually get the beginnings of the modern conclave process that we see today, which actually, the pontiff that was elected during that time, Gregory X, he published an apostolic constitution, Ubi Periculum, with more concrete rules on how the selection of a pope should be carried out. And that's the apostolic constitution that remains the basis of this modern day process that we are seeing the beginning of now, with these cardinals taking the oath of secrecy.
Et ego Ioannes Paulus, Cardinalis Vesco, spondeo, vovevo, acciuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Dominicus Josephus Cardinalis Mathieu, spondeo voveo acciuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Robertus Cardinalis Repole, spondeo voveo acciuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Baldassare Cardinalis Reina, spondeo voveo acciuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ex santa Dei Evangeli, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Franciscus Cardinalis Leo, spondeo voveo acciuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Micola Cardinalis Bichoc, spondeo voveo acciuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Dominicus Cardinalis Battaglia, spondeo voveo acciuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
And now we move on to the order of deacons.
Dominicus Cardinalis Lamberti,
including the Cardinal Camerlengo, who had responsibility for the property, the fiscal goods of the patrimony of St. Peter, and has an important role during the papal interregnum, the sede vacante. As we get closer to the last of the cardinals making their oath to faithfully adhere to the rules for the conclave, to fulfill the duties of the Petrine ministry if they are chosen as pope, and especially to preserve the secrecy that is involved with the election of the Roman pontiff. We will approach the point where we will hear the master of pontifical liturgical ceremonies proclaim the Latin phrase extra omnes, let everyone go out, calling all those who are not Cardinal Electors to leave the Sistine Chapel. The papal MC will remain within the Sistine Chapel briefly while Cardinal Cantalamessa gives the meditation to the cardinals according to the Apostolic Constitution Universi Dominici Graecis. And at the conclusion of that meditation, with the papal ceremoniere, the papal master of ceremonies, guiding the ceremony, he will then leave the Sistine Chapel. He will ensure that all of the entrances to the Sistine Chapel are closed and secured. A guard is posted, and the cardinals will proceed with the first ballot according to the ceremony. After the papal MC leaves the Sistine Chapel, the cardinal dean, or the person acting on his behalf, having consulted the electors, will immediately invite them to consider any business that they feel must be urgently addressed. And in the absence of any urgent business, or after that has been concluded, the Cardinal Electors will proceed to the first vote, again, according to all the procedures laid out in the Apostolic Constitution Universi Dominici Graecis. And the ceremony indicates finally that the first session of the conclave may be fittingly and appropriately closed by invoking the help of the Virgin Mother of God, Mary Most Holy, with the very ancient and traditional Marian prayer, the hymn Sub Tuum Presidium. We fly to thy protection, O Holy Mother of God. Despise not our petitions in our necessities, but deliver us always from all dangers, O glorious and blessed Virgin.
Ac ego Emilius Paulus Cardinalis Ceric, spondeo voveo et iu accuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ex sancte Dei Evangelia, que manu meo tango.
Et ego Christophorus Cardinalis Pierre spondeo voveo accuro, sic me Deus adjuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tengo.
Et ego Angelus Cardinalis Fernandez Artime spondeo boveo ac juro. Sic me Deus adjuvet et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego Rolandus Cardinalis Makritskas spondeo voveo ac juro. sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancta Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Et ego, Timotheus Cardinalis Radcliffe, spondeo, voveo, ac euro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ex sancte Dei Evangelii, que manu meo tango.
Et ego, Fabius Cardinalis Baggio, spondeo, voveo, ac euro, sic me Deus adiuvet, et ec sancte Dei Evangelia, que manu mea tango.
Diego Georgium Cardinalis Cuvacad, spondeo vove ac euro, sic me Deus advet et ec sancta Dei Evangelia que manu mea tango.
And George Jacob Cardinal Kovacad, the final Cardinal Deacon, swears the oath. And we proceed to the closing of
Extra omnes.
We hear those words in Latin where it means everyone out, signaling when all the non-essential people in the Sistine Chapel are invited to leave, and the cardinals can begin their discussions.
So for those of you watching on television, there are a number of notaries who were there in their capacity to formally recognize the beginning of the conclave, and a number of other persons who are in attendance for various reasons. All of them are ordered out of the Sistine Chapel, and as soon as they leave, the doors will be closed, the meditation will be given, the papal MC will leave, and the solemn closing, locking, and guarding of the doors of the conclave will take place, followed by the first vote this evening. And with the exit from the Sistine Chapel, our live coverage of the Cardinals' entrance into conclave for the election of the 267th Pope draws to a close. We do invite you to visit our Vatican News website, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube accounts for continuous coverage of the conclave. On behalf of Vatican Media, we'd like to thank our sound engineer Mario and our audio coordinators and all of our producers, as well as our media partners, EWTN TV, Catholic Faith Network in America, Shalom World Television's Network USA, Luminous Radio, at Madarshan TV, Catholic TV, and Uganda Catholic Television, who help make this broadcast possible.
My name is Kelsey Gussie.
And I'm Christopher Wells. It's been our very great pleasure providing the English commentary and translation of the ceremony of the entrance into the conclave for you.
A very special thank you to all of you for joining us wherever you have been listening or watching. And don't forget to join Chris and our colleague Linda Bordoni again in just a few minutes at 6 p.m. local Rome time for the live commentary as we await the Cardinals' decision, and keep an eye out on the chimney on the Sistine Chapel for either black or white smoke later this evening.
Praise be Jesus Christ. Laudetur Jesus Christus.